You've probably heard of the Great Wall of China, but have you heard of the Walls of Benin? They are one of history's greatest engineering marvels, an ancient African achievement that predates the Great Wall by more than 1,000 years. But despite being even larger, the Walls of Benin are almost completely unknown outside West Africa, and the story of their destruction in 1897 is a devastating example of how colonial powers erased African history. In this episode, we explore the rise and fall of the Walls of Benin. We think of walls as static structures, permanent fixtures in the landscape, but the Walls of Benin were actually built over a long period of time, expanded and modified by later generations. They evolved alongside the Benin Kingdom, reflecting changes in its size, power, and wealth. What we call the Walls of Benin today are actually a series of earthworks constructed using a method called ditch and bank. This technique is simple, yet the scale of its application by the Benin people is what makes it so impressive. To create the walls, the Benins dug a wide and deep trench, which would serve as the outer line of defense along with a moat. Then they piled the excavated soil behind it to make an embankment, which would act as a rampart for the defenders. You can still see examples of this construction today, such as at Elmina Castle in Ghana, where Portuguese slave traders used the same method to build defensive walls. But while European fortifications might be made of stone or brick, the Benin people worked with earth, using the same materials that the land itself provided. Over time, the walls grew longer and taller, stretching over 16,000 kilometers and covering an area of over 6,500 square kilometers. That makes them the largest man-made earthworks in history, even bigger than the Great Wall of China. But the Walls of Benin weren't just bigger, they were also more sophisticated. Some sections of the walls were built in a slight curve to block the view of approaching invaders, while others featured zigzag formations that made it difficult for enemy soldiers to navigate. These defensive measures demonstrate the advanced engineering and military knowledge of the Benin people, who lived in a complex society with a standing army, skilled artisans, and an organized government. But walls don't just defend against physical attacks. They can also control the flow of people and goods, making the Benin Kingdom a powerful force in regional trade. The walls may have been built initially for defense, but they also helped regulate markets, collect taxes, and manage resources. For the Benin people, the walls were not merely a means of defense or control, but also a symbol of their kingdom's wealth and organization. Their sheer size and complexity demonstrated the power of the Benin monarchy and its ability to mobilize thousands of people towards a common goal. They also represented a sacred geography, marking the boundaries between the spiritual and physical realms. According to oral tradition, the walls were believed to have been built with the help of a priest king named Unamloni, who possessed supernatural powers. He was said to have used magic to move earth and water, creating the foundations of the walls. Later kings continued this work, expanding and reinforcing the earthworks as the kingdom grew in power. For centuries, the Walls of Benin stood as a testament to the ingenuity and determination of the Benin people. But in 1897, they were destroyed by a British military force during the Benin Punitive Expedition. In February of the year, Britain invaded Benin City, killing hundreds of people and burning thousands of homes. They targeted the walls, too, using explosives and heavy machinery to tear them down. The British looted thousands of artworks, including the famous Benin bronzes, which are still scattered in museums around the world. The destruction of the walls was not just military, it was cultural, aimed at dismantling the kingdom's infrastructure and identity. The British wanted to punish the Benin people for their resistance and prevent any future rebellions. By destroying the walls, they were also sending a message to other African kingdoms not to resist colonial rule. Today, only fragments of the Walls of Benin remain. Some sections have been incorporated into modern streets or building foundations, while others have been lost to the forest. There is a national park dedicated to preserving the site, but much of the walls are still threatened by development, erosion, and neglect. Despite their tragic end, the Walls of Benin remain an important part of African history. They represent a unique achievement of pre-colonial Africa, demonstrating the continent's rich cultural heritage and diverse architectural traditions. The Benin people's mastery of hydraulic engineering and earthworks is particularly noteworthy, as it reflects their deep understanding of their environment and sustainable use of resources. Efforts are underway to map, preserve, and restore parts of the walls, as well as to raise awareness of this important site. Many Nigerians consider the walls a symbol of African ingenuity on par with the Great Wall of China, the pyramids of Egypt, and the Machu Picchu. Yet they remain largely absent from school history lessons outside West Africa. This needs to change. The story of the Walls of Benin is a reminder of the richness and complexity of African history, and the need to decolonize our minds. It has a story that should be told and retold until the walls are no longer lost but found. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and share. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Your support helps us bring these stories to more people.